Oh, the bull in China shop.
How little do I have in my life? Could I have been more excited Friday? I'm like, oh my God, did you see the heat? Okay, the lady, when she's throwing Sandra Bullock and Melissa McCarthy out of her house, that's what the Ukrainian lady.
You get the out of my house now. How's that for open mouth? Out! Get out!
Oh, and also we have another statement from the office of the 45th president for you. Oh my God. I hope everyone's able to remember that it was me as president of the United States.
Oh, God.
Oh, was he? Was he? That got delinquent NATO members to start paying their dues. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, my God, I can't. Okay, I can't. Yes.
Yeah, NATO wouldn't exist without Trump.
Donald Trump's very helpful attitude toward NATO, as you just remember, because we all have been struck in the head and have brain damage and don't remember what just happened year ago. Okay. Hey, we have lots of other breaking news and things to talk about. For instance, what I just read about the Ukraine has referred Putin to The Hague for war crimes. If only we had a legal lad of some sort. Oh, Harry Litman is magically here. Who, me? Listen, my dad was, as you know, a Nuremberg prosecutor. I am just champing at the bit about this. Is this not, I know we throw this around a lot, The Hague. But does not the whole world right now see that Putin is committing war crimes? Is this not what The Hague was founded for?
Yeah, it's sure what it was founded for. Someone who's committing crimes and you can't otherwise get him. In that sense, it's an investigation par excellence. Man, oh man, the whole thing is murky, and there will be evidence, and it will take years. There's a couple really good prosecutors out there that you should have on your show now that I think of it. Are you listening, Alan Teeger and Alex Whiting? But that is precisely what it's for, because even without, does he see the international pokey, whatever that looks like?
Yeah.
It further constrains his ability to travel. It further reinforces his incipient, not so incipient now, role as pariah on the world stage. It further makes him an outlaw where? In the world, or at least Europe. So, I mean, in that sense, it's a potential serious step.
And interesting. I want to get your take. Your legal lady friend, Joyce Vance, tweeted, very interesting. If true, the Kremlin papers appear to show Putin's plot to put Trump in the White House, confirms that Putin's objective was to help Trump because a Trump White House would help secure Moscow's strategic objectives, among them social turmoil in the U.S. Well, it just confirms what's in the Mueller report and in the bipartisan Senate intelligence report. But, Harry, as I keep...
like 100%. And you just think about, there's different ways to think about Donald Trump, but one is as almost this, the luckiest buffoon in the world. Yeah. And he, just around, he served their purposes. It worked out for Putin. Although, of course, now if only Trump were here now, we'd be really mounting a vigorous universal response.
Yeah, right.
That was a pristine Orwellian moment, if I could say it.
Well, this is, my theme, I guess, this morning, Harry, has been a lot of the media not asking every Republican and putting this whole story in context. For instance, Eric tweeted, only change to the GOP platform in 2016, once Trump was nominated, was removal of support for Ukraine. Why is every Republican not asked about that? In addition to Trump openly rooting for Putin, along with his Secretary of State.
Openly being the operative term in that one, like mind-blowingly head turns 360, openly, and it's just the 8,000th reinforcement that what's going on here, it just doesn't have to do with facts or reason or memory or who you're going to believe, me or the video audio tape. It's just some kind of weird emotional thing that is inexhaustible. If he says the sun didn't come up yesterday, you've got 40% and Laura Ingraham ready to say, you fools, you thought that was light out. That was all Trump's incandescence lighting up the sky.
Harry, we always hurt the ones that are closest to us. And by that, I mean you, because you're only in San Diego. But I'm going to play Donald Trump, because this is, to what you just said, this is the opposite. This is him yesterday. Yep. He just took credit for NATO this morning.
Right.
And this is him yesterday, or whatever,
Yesterday,
Saturday.
Reporters asked me if I thought President Putin was smart. I said,
No, they didn't.
"Of
You
course
just
he's
said it.
smart," to which I was greeted with, "Oh, that's such a terrible thing to say." I'd like to tell the truth. Yes, he's smart. The NATO nations, and indeed the world, as he looks over what's happening strategically with no repercussions or threats whatsoever, they're not so smart. They're looking the opposite of smart.
Putin is smart, NATO's dumb.
I'm
And then
breaking down hives now.
this morning he takes credit for NATO.
Yeah.
2 days
Yeah,
ago
I
he
mean,
said
there's
NATO's
no-
dumb.
I mean, it's torqued up again, but
Yeah.
and hearing it now, I mean, really, it's like this is a really serious situation, a fantastic geopolitical moment, incredible heroism, stories,
Yeah.
drama, hope, etc. And that voice.
Oh, God, it's
intervening in
terrible.
it
It's terrible.
It's friggin' nauseating. But in addition, you got to think perhaps this is another 1, 2, 3% of erosion where there's maybe a few of the Trumpies plucked from the margins saying, "Well, no, wait a second. This is the opposite of what he did."
And by the way, he
I'm
starts
off
with
the
a
train.
lie. He was
Maybe
not
I'm on the DeSantis train, but I'm off this
Yeah.
damn train.
He was not asked, is Putin smart? He said that unprompted last week. He was not asked.
Right.
Everything he says is a lie. Oh, I was asked if Putin's smart, so I was just responding. No,
And-
you weren't.
and
You
this could just be-
unprompted.
by the way, can I bring my dog in? He
Yes.
wants to say hi.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Wait. He actually left the room to go get his dog. Well, that's a new
But
That's
by
a
the
first for
way,
an
I
interview.
was struck by that statement. It's a little weak for Donald Trump. It starts, "I hope.
Yeah.
I hope that people remember that I did NATO." That I think he's a little forlorn.
Yeah. By the way, you tweeted, "How historically evil is Paul Manafort? Is he the devil himself?" Again, Harry, just that people are not, when they're interviewing any Republican, putting this whole story in context. That Manafort is the one that installed the last Putin puppet in Ukraine that the people overthrew. He's the one that installed the Putin puppet here in America in 2016. Was pardoned for that, right? I mean, it is all one story. And thank you for pointing it out.
Yeah, when we first were introduced to him, he seemed like a kind of a shambling con man. Just one guy, please give me some money, Donald Trump, etc. Now it turns out, oh, of course, Paul Manafort somehow, propped up the whole thing, making millions and millions of dollars in the process, of course. And, Stone is going to wind up living in Russia, but what had seemed like this very concrete, specific story of a little bit of footsie playing with Russia now feels like it's been in some kind of secret way dominating the world for like 6 years.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Let's turn to Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, who is obviously, by all accounts, unbelievably qualified. Went to Harvard, obviously, undergrad and law school. Hang on, let me skip down. She's 51. She's been a judge on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit since June, where 3 Republicans, including Lindsey Graham, voted for her just 8 months ago. She previously served as a judge on the U.S. District Court for D.C. for 8 years. She's a former public defender, vice chair of the U.S. Sentencing Commission, also clerked for Breyer. So you know a lot about this whole world, Harry.
Yeah.
Tell us your first reaction and thoughts on Judge Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, everyone was first. Some of the Republicans were focused on, "Oh no, you're limiting the field," exactly as say Reagan did expressly, or H.W. Bush did tacitly. So the focus is, but the what her excellence that you've just described really should put an end to all that kind of chatter, which is sort of revolting anyway. But the things that you glossed over, Steph, are what really strike me about this. I clerked for Justice Marshall at the time. He was the only guy on that court who had represented real people in criminal settings where their liberty's on the line. Half of the amendments in the Constitution are about this. The framers care deeply about the state's engagement with the accused, and having people who know that story. So she has one.
Yeah.
She chose to be. She has a gold-plated resume, nothing but the best. Except this, she didn't have to take a couple years off to be assistant federal public defender, the real grit and grime of things. That's going to be, among other things, a real asset to the court to have that breadth of experience. Ditto the Sentencing Commission. That's like tricky laws. Breyer wrote it and has always been a real ballast for the court in their understanding it. He's gone. but she'll be there. And then finally, this district court thing, that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
Sotomayor had some district court experience, none of the others. They all go straight from a clerkship to a white shoe firm to a court of appeals. She has been there where lawsuits are initiated, where there's this sort of give and take. When you have to read a cold appellate record, it makes a big difference to be able to just discern from experience what's going on, where are the real stress points. So in addition to all the obvious things, Biden is doing a favor for the courts. She is bringing along some really useful experience, and all that's about it. The notion that I was on Fox News the other night, and they trotted out a little, is she a big lib or not? She's going to have a voting pattern kind of like Breyer's. What else would you expect?
Yeah.
Right.
She's excellent, kind of like Breyer. What else would you expect? But she brings these other things to the table that her brethren and sisters to be are going to really profit from.
Well, Kavian Schroff tweeted, Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson has 8.9 years of prior judicial experience. That's 3 times as much as Amy Coney Barrett. I mean, you're right.
And there's a certain kind of it. Appellate stuff, you're being nerdy like they need to be. God bless them. But she has, that not just judicial, but it's sort of human experience. It's not on a cold record. There are people in front of you. There are jerk-off lawyers in front of you. There's the government in front of you. It's the real thing.
Well, our friend Ellie Mistal said, is the white wing pointing to any decision Brown Jackson has made that marks her as a radical leftist, or are they just calling her that because she's black and they expect the small minds of their white supremacist base to do the imaginative work? I think they're going to have to have a tough time attacking a really,
and by the way,
incredibly qualified candidate, black woman like this. I think they're going to have a really hard time not looking racist because she's.
But they always look for the case, the frozen trucker case or whatever, and it really ain't out there. There's 2 or 3 things you'll hear about. Mostly people go to sleep when they start summarizing facts of cases, and there's just nothing here. There's one where she's like kind of hard-hearted, it seems, with someone who died in the metro. But basically, there's no good talking point for them, even in the cases. They know that it's a lost cause.
Yeah. Well,
but I just want to say I say one thing?
Yes.
I'm talking too much today. But it bugs me because
that's why I invite you is not to talk, Harry. I mean, I can't believe you're
knowing
talking.
It's a lost cause. What are they going to do? Show how reasonable and moderate they are and how nice they treat candidates, as opposed to Brett Kavanaugh, for example. And they're going to actually try to state the case that they're the reasonable, nice party when it comes to judicial confirmations. And I'm again going to have to, eat my coffee cup.